Hey guys, TheSneakySnake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and in today's video we're going to take a look at a pretty sweet replay from AlexCT playing in the Salem, the Tier 10 Premium American Heavy Cruiser. He's playing by himself, and it's some domination here on the map Loop. So if you'd like to send a replay into us, please send it to BIAworldofwarships, all lowercase, at gmail.com. Please include a replay, post-battle results if you do have them, a brief description of the battle, and then if you'd like myself or Puddin to do the commentary, you can request for that as well. So the Salem here in World of Warships, what do you need to know about this ship? Well, it is a ship that we have featured quite a bit on our channel, both in regular gameplay from, I believe, Spider, and then also a couple of our other community replays have been this ship as well. So it is a pretty popular ship, and this replay that you're going to see is definitely worthy of being on our community replay series. So definitely sit back, relax, and enjoy this gameplay from Alex. The Salem is very similar to the Des Moines, of course, because it is one of the 3 Des Moines class cruisers that were built in real life. There are a couple of distinct differences, the first of which is that the radar does have less range, and then of course it does have that somewhat British-like heel where you are able to get quite a few more hit points back than you would be in a regular Des Moines cruiser. But pretty much everything else is about the same. It only costs 240,000 coal, so there is a bit of a price tag to it. But if you do grind it out, about a couple good solid months of playing this game, you will be able to earn enough coal to be able to get it. So yeah, there's that. This gameplay here on Loop, this is a great map for American cruisers in particular, especially the high tier ones, because there's a lot of island cover around the caps. Not so much at sea, but definitely around A and B. And that is where Alex is going to be fighting for the majority of this gameplay. So obviously being able to get into position and utilize the great rate of fire that these American heavy cruisers have at the high tiers, especially the Salem and Des Moines, you can get to positions where you're able to really start punishing enemy ships with the sustained DPM. He is running the range mod, so 18.4 kilometers of gun range with a 5.5 second reload, which is exceptionally good for a tier 10 cruiser. And I use reload on my Des Moines. I prefer it because I don't mind getting in close and being able to get that reload down to, I believe, 4.8 seconds, which is pretty great, of course. But 5.5 is still plenty good. He starts out shooting at the enemy Shimakaze, who, for whatever reason, decided to make a very bold charge into A. Unfortunately, he did nuke the Haragumo for the first blood and the devastating strike, so obviously, well, this is what you'd expect in this game, just at the beginning. Destroyer players are just like light tank drivers in World of Tanks. They sometimes really have no idea what they're doing, and that Shimakaze is definitely paying for his adventure there at the beginning, which, okay, it is World of Warships. At the end of the day, this is the gameplay that we have, so, or I should say the player base. So there we go, he gets killed. But Alex is going to go over here towards the vicinity of the A cap. There is the enemy Alaska, there's the Monarch, there's a Conqueror, and there's an Irion that have been spotted over in the vicinity of A, south of A. So, obviously some ships that he'll be able to deal with pretty effectively with his rate of fire. And you can see that he's not afraid to shoot in open water. The Des Moines, obviously, we all know from Euro's video, that kind of meme build with the spot plane and whatnot, but, a long time ago, before American heavy cruisers had radar, these things were the penultimate open water gunboat cruisers, the Des Moines that is, and it's a playstyle that you can get away with pretty effectively. So he's going to go over here towards the A cap and see what he can do. Unfortunately, this replay is a little bit dull here in the beginning, so please bear with me here. It is sometimes a little difficult to find filler stuff to put in to your commentary. Even though I've been doing this for years now, sometimes these replays can be a little bit dry when there's not much going on, so, just bear with me here. He's going to get some shots now at the enemy Alaska, about 12.5 kilometers. This is actually a really good range. Anywhere between 10 and 15 kilometers, that's really ideal for the Des Moines to engage stuff because it is still somewhat easy to land your shells on target. You can really take advantage of your rate of fire, and you're still far enough away from battleships where you're not really too worried about getting completely nuked, because unfortunately a lot of the battleships at the higher tiers do have the ability to overmatch the Des Moines armor, which obviously leads to eating a lot of damage for sure. So, the enemy team does have some ships on the A-cap that Alaska is really paying for. You can see that the friendly Midway has done a lot of work here on this side of the map. Whether you love the carrier rework or hate it, that guy has definitely been having a very good impact on this side of the map so far early on in this game. And you're going to see that Alex is actually going to follow his Kurfürst buddy into the A-cap. You can see that the guy is in D2 moving to the southeast, and they're actually going to go push the A-cap together. Obviously, that enemy Alaska that it is in there has lost a lot of hit points, so those two should be able to move into the cap and take care of business. Unfortunately, the enemy team does have a rather large lead, already. It's 190 to 365, and the enemy team is going to get the A-cap under their control as well, so they will get that point lead going really, really fast. So Alex and the Kurfürst over here of Kankex, they need to get in there and do some work, and we'll see what they're going to be able to accomplish. The enemy team does have very strong board position at this point. You can see on the minimap that they have full control of A and C, and while the middle part of the map is not contested, Alex's team does not have any more destroyers while they still have one. So obviously, cap contesting is going to be very difficult, and it's going to require some very aggressive play here. You can see that Irion gets absolutely slam dunked by somebody, taking about 25,000 plus damage right there. Actually almost 30,000, so that's great. Unfortunately, the Conqueror is southwest of the B-cap and has a really good angle on him and the Kurfürst, so this engagement is going to become a little bit tricky. Obviously, Alex is also going to have to angle well to that enemy Alaska, because that ship does have those very big 300 plus millimeter caliber guns and will be able to get some serious damage if he does not angle properly. But this is where the Salem shines. You can see here that this DPM is really coming into handy, and he is shooting right at the bow of that ship. But obviously, he wasn't angled well enough, and the Alaska does have those improved penetrating angles with the armor piercing, and he did eat quite a bit of damage. But you can see how much HP he was able to get back. He was able to get back about 7,000 right there, so that's great. But this Alaska is definitely screwed. The Kurfürst now has an angle for the secondaries, so we're going to see who's going to be able to finish off this kill. He does get a fire on the bow of that guy. His guns are reloaded, and his fire does manage to take care of that Tier 9 Premium American Heavy Cruiser. But unfortunately, that Conqueror is still in the vicinity, and if he came around the corner at the wrong time, it's not going to go well for the Kurfürst and Alex here. So he's actually going to do a really smart play here, and he's going to angle to where the Conqueror might potentially be coming around the corner. So he's going to start heading back to the northeast and obviously get inside of the A-cap while swinging his guns around, at least at the moment, to his port side. Now, he does use his defensive fire as the enemy carrier is bringing in some torpedo planes, and you can see that the Salem does have some very potent AA, and in the blink of an eye, 5 of the planes in the squadron were taken out of the sky. And fortunately, the Midway was able to get a very brief spot there on the enemy Conqueror. So now that Alex knows that that guy is coming around this corner, he is going to get in a perfect kiting position. Hopefully, they're going to be able to get control of the A-cap. You can see that the friendly Midway is going to attack the Conqueror, which is very good for him to give some support. And now, as the Conqueror is about ready to come around the corner, Alex starts to engage. And again, at this range, the sustained DPM of these high-tier American heavy cruisers really comes in handy. Fortunately for him, the Conqueror did not shoot before they were able to get secured the A-cap. So that's really good for his team. They're now going to be generating some points. And you can see that he is angled decently to the enemy Conqueror, but unfortunately still ate about 9,000 points of damage right there. But of course, the Conqueror has 32 millimeters of armor all over the place and is unable to stand up to 203 millimeter HE. So you can see that the majority of the shells that are landing on target are actually getting solid penetrating hits, and you saw right there a couple salvos dealing about 6,000-7,000 damage, which is just really what the ship is able to do. Conqueror does use the Mega Heal, but obviously he was on fire and did have some flooding. So obviously, you know, he is now really screwed as the carrier is helping out with the dive bombers coming in. You can see that Alex really has been taking a beating from those 419 millimeter guns. Unfortunately, they are able to overmatch his armor, so at these ranges, it's kind of difficult to be able to angle effectively. You can see that he's just taking more and more AP damage, but this Conqueror will be taken out of the game here very quickly. Hopefully, he's going to be able to get him killed by the time his rear turrets are reloaded. Still taking more penetrating damage, very unfortunately, but the midway finally does finish off the job. And even though he used another heal, he's now down to only 22,000 hit points. So Alex has done a decent bit of damage, but he did eat quite a bit in return. And like I said, when you do stray beneath 10 kilometers, it is very, very difficult to keep your hit points up when you're dealing with battleships that are able to overmatch you. And you saw a great example of that right there. Not really anything Alex could do, nothing really his fault. He was trying to angle as best that he could, but unfortunately, RNG decided to say overmatch, screw you. So at this point, his team has come back quite a bit. It's 347 to 402. The enemy team has now lost 6 ships, while his team has only lost 5. So they've done a good job to bring the scores back to a manageable amount. And there's still 9 minutes and 44 seconds left in the game, so there's still plenty of work that needs to be done. However, you can see that Alex is hard detected right now. And obviously, there is no gun bloom, so something is within 10.9 kilometers of him. And now you can see that smoke screen that just went up blocking line of sight for that destroyer. Alex now knows exactly where that guy is, and you can see that he pings the minimap in Echo 6. So he's going to try and move in, and unfortunately the Conqueror eats 3 torpedoes there, but he's not going to try to move in and use his radar and see what he can do to that enemy destroyer. And unfortunately, if I was that enemy destroyer, well, obviously I detected the Salem if I was him, so I would have been booking it to the southeast at the very least to try to get out of the B cap while still maybe taking control of it. But now Alex is going to be able to get well within his radar range of that enemy destroyer, and it's not going to end well for him. Now, there is an enemy Yamato that is pushing up the 8 line right now and will be making a turn to the west, so Alex does have to try and get this kill really quickly, but now you can see that he is only 6.5 kilometers away from the destroyer, so this poor guy, quite a bit of a lack of situational awareness, to put it lightly, and this guy is going to get obliterated really, really quickly. A great raider by Alex right there, and he does manage to finish off that tier 10 German destroyer. He also is shooting down some of those planes that were spotting him, so now he has to book it towards that smoke screen and try to get there before that Yamato can get guns on him. You can see that he is shooting at the enemy Richelieu, who's well to the north, but Alex is going to try to get out of line of sight here from that Japanese battleship, because he's in a somewhat compromised position right now, but also not so much because the Conqueror can't get shots at him, so it's very imperative that he gets out of dodge here. There are some enemy rocket planes coming in as well, so you can see that his AA is going to work, and he is going to use his defensive fire to try and help out his friends that are over on the western side of the B cap. And there we go. His AA is really going to work now. Fortunately for him, the Yamato actually decided to stop moving forward and actually started to back up. So that Yamato is not able to get any shots on him. So very fortunately for him, he's not going to be able to get into a position to try and shoot AP into the broadside of this Monarch. Now, this is a good teaching point right here. The British battleships have excellent belt armor, and it does extend quite a bit up the side of the hull. So you're going to see him shooting AP right into the side of the belt. And while the first salvo does 6,600, take a look at some of the next salvos. 4 non-penetrations, only 3,300 points of damage. When you are shooting at British battleships at point-blank range, you are best off to shoot at the very tip of the bow and at the very back of the stern. Now, right there, he does aim a little bit higher, but these aren't like German or American battleships or even Japanese where you can just pump shots right into the broadside at the waterline. You really do need to aim for the extremities of those British battleships. That is where you're going to get the consistent penetrating damage. Now, unfortunately, right there, he just ate absolute shit from those enemy dive bombers. 17,000 points of damage. And then as he comes around the corner, the Minotaur is engaging him at 8.7 kilometers, probably thinking that he's going to be able to get the kill. And you can see that he has to angle up to that Minotaur because, of course, he is eating a lot of damage from his armor piercing, but obviously being able to shoot at a broadside Minotaur is a wet dream for an American heavy cruiser captain. Unfortunately, the Minotaur does speed up and get out of dodge just in time, but now he does have to try to find some island cover here because he's only down to 7,700 hit points. But you saw right there that manga heal was actually coming in handy. Now he's got to dodge some torpedoes from the Minotaur, and he manages to do that. Then he has to turn hard to the right to dodge the torpedoes from the enemy aircraft carrier. He's only on 7,400 hit points, so he really cannot afford to eat a torpedo here. That is going to chunk him to about half of his remaining hit points. But fortunately, he was able to find some solid island cover to get behind. And with that Yamato still distracted by the enemy Richelieu, he's going to still be alive here for the next couple of minutes, hopefully. He only has one more heal left, and he really doesn't have that much hit points to play with. So this engagement is going to be very, very tricky because that Minotaur could kill him in a couple of salvos if he does manage to catch Alex in a very bad spot. Hakuryu armor-piercing dive bombers are coming back, so at this point, you know, just hopefully his AA is going to be able to take him out. But fortunately for him, the Hakuryu, that is not going for Alex, which is great. Now he has to angle appropriately to the Minotaur, and thank goodness that all that guy has is armor piercing. He's down below 5,000 hit points, so he's really in a bad spot. But just point the bow, point the nose at that guy as best as possible and see what you can do. He is going to constantly switch back and forth between high explosive and armor piercing. The Minotaur decides to risk it and go broadside, trying to use all of his firepower on Alex to maybe hit the superstructure while he's bow in, but obviously this is going to be a very big mistake for the Minotaur as Alex gets a nice double citadel there to finish him off. Now here come the Hakuryu rocket planes. They just won't leave him alone, will they? Here they come in for the launch. Will he be able to dodge? 949 hit points. He has his next heal. Obviously, he has to use it to try to get some hit points back, and you can see that he does get a decent bit back. He now swings his guns over to the port side. The Yamato is still dealing with the Richelieu. Alex now has his defensive fire up, trying to shoot down more planes, and you can see where the planes are coming from. They are oh so close. Minotaur torpedoes going off the port side. Guns now swinging to the left against the Yamato. His AA is still shooting down some planes, so trying to keep him alive. Unfortunately for him, at least damage purposes, the Richelieu does manage to finish off the Japanese battleship. Now he has 24 seconds left. We know that the aircraft carrier is right around the corner in G9 because of how quickly those planes were coming back, so hopefully he'll be able to get some sweet, sweet revenge, and you can see that those torpedo planes are right there, 5 kilometers away, coming just around the island. Unfortunately, the Hakuryu does get the drop off, so he really has to turn in now. Hopefully he's going to be able to dodge. Will he be able to pick up the C cap? Only 2 more seconds left. He is going to be able to find a way to get right in between those drops of the torpedoes as he picks up the solo base cap. And now, fortunately, the midway coming in for the drop is going to force the Hakuryu to move forward. And I cannot tell you guys how satisfying it is to finally be able to shoot at a carrier at the end of the game, just padding the damage. These things have massive citadels. He's got the armor piercing loaded. He's going to be able to get some shots off before, and oh baby, there we go, a whole bunch of citadels. Confederate picked up. More salvos going down range. Another big monster hit, 26,000 damage as he picks up the high caliber, and then he finishes off the game in style, killing off the Hakuryu, and that ends the match here on loop. Alrighty guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, 780,000 credits received and 16,900 total experience earned. I'd imagine this was his first win of the day. He picked up Confederate, Dreadnought, and High Caliber, dealing 227,000 points of damage off of 211 shell hits. He sank 1/3 of the enemy team, 4 kills, 16 citadels, 45 planes shot down, 1 solo base cap, 1 assisted base capture, and even 19 cheeky hits with the secondaries. Taking a look at the team score, 3,394 base experience. That is a monster game. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to the Midway. Yes, I know it's a carrier, LOL, but 3 kills, 15 planes, some good help on the Conqueror, and some of the other ships that were in the vicinity of A at the beginning of the game. So great job to the Midway as well. Taking a look at the detailed report, this is where you can really see the power of the heal coming in. 80,000 damage taken in the Salem. While that's certainly not as the high water mark that you can, tanking 80,000 damage in a tier 10 cruiser is fantastic, and that heal was certainly coming in handy right there. 194,000 damage dealt with the main batteries, 27,000 damage dealt with the fires, and even 5,000 damage with the secondaries. So great game from Alex here in the Salem. Thank you, sir, for sending in the replay. This wasn't my best commentary by any stretch of the imagination, but I hope you enjoyed watching your replay here on the channel, and thank you again for sending it in. So with that being said, this is the Sneaky Snake for BIA World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, as always, thank you for the support that you give us, and have a great day.